Reverently, I offer this symbol of our hope and high intent. Reverently, I bequeath this flame to you. This is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Bear this light to others, one by one. Let the flame go from life till all is lit with its warmth. Tell that that light means wisdom. Tell that that light means kindness. Tell that that light means understanding. Tell that that light means acceptance. Tell that that light means sacrifice. Tell that the light is a vision of a fairer world. Tell that this is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world.
Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing. Just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing. Just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing. Just as you are, I accept. Just as you are, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are, just as you are without changing a thing. Just as you are, I accept. Just as you are, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are. One more time. Just as you are without changing a thing. Just as you are, I accept. Just as you are, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are.
All Our Neighbors by Alexandra Penfold and Suzanne Kaufman. What is a community? It's a place for you and me. Come along and you'll see we all are neighbors here. We start our days in different ways. Some go to work and others stay. We're here for each other, come what may. We all are neighbors here. Let's go walking down our street. Friends and neighbors here to greet. Oh, so many folks to meet. We all are neighbors here. What is a community? It's a place for you and me. Come along and you'll see we all are neighbors here. A friendly smile, a familiar face, helping hands, just in case, taking care of our shared space. We all are neighbors here. We can help each other along, building bonds that are strong, so everyone knows where they belong. We all are neighbors here. What is a community? It's a place for you and me. Come along and you'll see. We all are neighbors here. The sound of music in the street, the scent of goodies ready to eat, feeling at home and complete. We all are neighbors here. This is our community. We celebrate diversity. There's a place for everybody. We all are neighbors here.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots holding close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Letters After My Name by Carrie Kopnick. I pull another basket of steaming dishes out of the dishwasher in our church basement. My partner in kitchen cleanup grabs a clean dish towel to dab the pools of water from the upturned soup bowls. They ask, "What's your undergrad in?" The conversations that happen in church kitchens are my absolute favorites. I've been washing dishes in church basements since I was 11. Kitchen ministry fills my heart. But not this time. Not this conversation. I know the look I get. I know they won't mean harm, but I can feel the shame creep from my heart to my face. I'm staff here. They pay me a chunk from their operating budget to direct the ministry to and with their children and teens. Surely I have a degree, preferably a master's, likely even a professional license of some kind too. Actually, I don't. I didn't finish my undergrad. I turned to load the next round of soup bowls, and while I want to say I was close to a degree in child psych, if I move back to that state, maybe I'll finish it. But I just spray the bowls with the restaurant-style sprayer, bits of barley and carrots flying everywhere. Conversation stops. My eyes don't linger to see the raised eyebrows, the quick flash of judgment. It's not that I didn't want to finish school. I just came from a working-class family where college visits and choosing the right school were a foreign world. My high school teachers didn't see anything special in me. My brain functions more like a modern dance number done in the woods, upside down, than a neat and tidy ballet performance of Swan Lake. So I tumbled out of high school and headed where my friends went, to a big public research institution that was all about the third position with absolutely no woods. It's not surprising I left early, feeling stupid. I worked in what could have been Ms. Magazine's top 10 low-wage jobs for women until my Unitarian Universalist congregation needed a religious educator, and I applied. We were wildly successful, doubling the number of registered children and then doubling again. We won an award for growth and innovation and finally had to buy a church building to house our booming congregation. I served on district and continental boards for my professional association, and my blog was often featured in the denominational magazine. But I never applied to be formally credentialed. How could I? I would have had to face the credentialing committee without the letters after my name. My faith says all are welcome. My faith says we are all whole and holy and good. I myself have said this to dozens of children and teens, and yet we have miles to go to make this so.
Well, it is really lovely to be here again. It's been a while and it's good to see so many familiar faces. Jim told you I'm here on a twofold mission. I'm taking part in this pulpit exchange. As you know, Reverend Jen is at Gettysburg, and I'm obviously here. And I'm also focusing on this particular topic as a response to an auction item for a sermon topic that was selected by Leslie Johnston. This topic, Are You Used, is this congregation as welcoming as we proclaim? It's an important question to wrestle with, and it's something that I think about often. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? So, we just heard it, but how many of you grew up hearing Fred Rogers sing this song to yourself or your children or your grandchildren? And how many of us have found comfort in this invitation to be a neighbor, to have a neighbor? And yet, as we have experienced life in the past many years, when the flames of division have been stoked from so many quarters, being a neighbor, someone who can accept another just as they are without changing a thing, well, it isn't as easy as this song makes it sound, is it? Leah Morris sang, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are. Take a moment and imagine what it feels like to have those words spoken to you, welcomed in, just as you are. Powerful, isn't it? What a curious experience to be alive during these times. Such longing to be seen, to be heard, to be welcomed in just as we are. Yet far too often how difficult it seems to make this longing a reality. And surely we are not the first people on earth to struggle so. The mystics and spiritual leaders from so many traditions have offered guidance of their own for eons. The Prophet Muhammad instructs us to give to our neighbors what they need. Jesus proclaimed on the Sermon on the Mount to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. From Buddhist tradition arises the concept of the bodhisattva, one who cultivates wisdom that leads to nirvana and compassion through the service to others. Teachings from Judaism brought forth what we often call the golden rule: love your neighbor as yourself. Love in this instance isn't some kind of romanticized emotion, but refers to treating your neighbors justly in the manner that you would treat someone whom you truly loved. And we could go on. There are many more examples to be found that tell us what I think is at the center of spiritual teachings and which seem to be embedded in our psychic DNA. For most people, even if we do not act on it, a first response to the suffering of others is a desire to offer comfort, to help alleviate pain, to welcome in the other. Most people who respond to the suffering of others, they don't take the time to stop and find out who they voted for in the last election. They don't think about what their bank account might hold or check the opinion of social ideas, social issues. No, most people first seek to offer comfort, to help to alleviate pain. And the outpouring of support in times of disaster demonstrates this time and again. But let us not wait for disastrous circumstances in order to practice the invitation of neighborliness. As we consider what it means to be a neighbor, a question that is important to ask is, how do I determine who my neighbor is? Is it the person who lives next door to me, the person I wave to when I go out for a walk in the morning? Is it the person I share a meal with from time to time? Is a neighbor someone who lives in the same town, the same state, the same country? And have you ever had the experience where you're traveling somewhere far from home, and you meet somebody and you talk about whatever you end up talking about, and you find out that you live in the same state, but they're from a town you've never heard of. But simply because you're far from home and they live in the same state, suddenly you feel like you've found a long-lost family member. Is a neighbor someone who shares your values and vision of the world? Is it someone whose values and vision of the world seem to be in direct opposition to all you hold dear? Reverend Marilyn Sewell wrote the following piece called Radical Hospitality. Radical means out of the ordinary, revolutionary even. So what would it mean to receive someone, a stranger, with a presence that was not just polite, but to receive them with revolutionary generosity? What does it mean for us as a church? We are committed, we say, to being a welcoming congregation. We say we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of all, and yet we're human beings, and we have the same challenges that all human beings have. We feel more comfortable when we're with people that we know. We often come to church. We gravitate to the people we know. We feel less comfortable when we are with people who have different ideas and interests, different cultural assumptions. Tribalism is strong, and we need look no further than our congregations. She goes on to say, let's talk about some people who might actually visit our church and imagine to what extent they might feel welcomed. A young woman with an infant in her arms comes in. When the baby starts to whimper during the service, she begins to breastfeed. A Native American with long dark hair comes in. A man from a Pentecostal background waves his hands in the air during the singing of Spirit of Life. A beautifully bedecked woman in a flowered print dress with matching high heels and purse. She's 6 feet 4 inches tall and clearly transgender. A person who speaks out of turn and can't follow the hymns. He seems to have a mental illness. A well-dressed couple. The man has an American flag in the lapel of his suit, and they have Bibles with them. A homeless man enters who hasn't bathed in a week. A serviceman is back from active duty, in uniform, visiting with his aunt and uncle. A 21-year-old who has just graduated from college and moved here to find his first job, he knows no one in town. He's African American. Marilyn goes on, I hope we would be called a friendly church, a hospitable church, and I think that we are. But do we practice radical hospitality? And if we did, what might that look like? I speak of radical hospitality today because there is a world out there that needs home, that needs community. And I want us to stretch spiritually, to stretch ourselves open. I know that when we take the risk, yes, of course, we will blunder, we'll make mistakes. Believe me, I have blundered more than once. But when we take the risk, our lives will grow so much richer and deeper because we have extended ourselves. Our creativity will blossom, for we will not be stuck with our old assumptions, our narrow way of perceiving reality. Our world will grow wider and softer and more trusting. Well, I love this vision, and such a vision is the North Star that I strive to live my life by. But I often question how much I am able or willing to open myself to those who rub me the wrong way, those whose need is so much greater than I feel equipped to deal with, those who are seemingly entrenched in doing harm to others. And yet, I think that we are called by all the ancient wisdom that comes to us through the teachings, like we noted earlier, to dig deep within ourselves and keep stretching in ways so that we can figure out how to live the golden rule, how to love our neighbor as we would love ourselves. I believe that this community, UUCY, is a hospitable community, and it is my hope that you strive to embrace a practice of radical hospitality, to practice what that might look like here. And the operative word is practice. It's not going to be perfect. I hope that we, all of us, continue to stretch ourselves to become larger in our capacity to truly love. Even if we are not always able to welcome everyone just as they are, it's my hope that we can hold everyone with tenderness, setting caring boundaries when we need to, considering that we may never know the journey another has traveled, and in the process keep striving to open ourselves by listening to those who are different from us, those who rub us the wrong way. So, to try to answer the question that was first posed, do we really welcome everyone? I think this is a both-and situation. There are times when we need to set boundaries that may not appear at first glance to be welcoming, yet doing so may be the most loving thing we can do in particular situations. I think that we too often can be content with saying that we are a welcoming faith without doing the hard work of really considering what this means in practical application. I think we can be welcoming to all, and at the same time find circumstances when we need to say this action, these words are not something that is welcomed here. At the same time, we have to look at our own biases, our own assumptions and fears, and figure out how to venture outside our own comfort, to offer shelter, to ease suffering, to invite kinship whenever we can. I remember my son's preschool teacher had a practice each night before bed where she would picture each child in her class and envision the best possible version of each of them. Even if, and especially if, They had exhibited less than desirable behaviors that day. Jesuit priest Father Greg Boyle, who has spent the last 40-plus years working with gang members, welcoming them and inviting them to see their own goodness, says, "You teach children that they are valued by valuing them, not by insisting that they prove their value to you." He goes on, "We are all glib when we announce that there is wickedness in the world, and yet if we try to see as Spirit does, we just notice how unwell and damaged people are, and they can't, just yet, get at their own goodness. People aren't wicked. They are strangers to their own goodness." I believe that we are called to practice a spirit of true welcome by holding such visions of goodness for others, particularly when they may not be able to see it for themselves. You know, practice living into seeing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And it's a practice. It's not easy, but I believe this is what we are called to do. Let us open up the doors, my friends, lest we keep the stranger out and condemn ourselves to prisons of our own making. It is in the shelter of each other that the people live.
Morning. One of the things that attracted me to Unitarian Universalism 38 years ago was our rich history of putting faith into action and being a voice for justice in the public square and pushing the envelope to do so. Speaking for those who need our energy, our passion, and our unique voice. In history, that goes from Susan B. Anthony to more recently, Pete Seeger. One thing that I remember, and time is a challenge when you realize how short this period of time has been. 2004, 2 Unitarian Universalist ministers in New York were arrested for performing same-sex marriages. We in this congregation took up collections to help with their legal expenses. 2004. Look how quickly things have changed, fortunately. And this congregation, this faith, was a major part of that, of giving that voice, and others have followed. Here at UUCY, our Social Justice Committee is divided into teams. Those teams include immigration, and I think you're aware of the work that we've done for Cho, Tanya, and Sasha. LGBTQIA, we support PFLAG and the Rainbow Rose. Green Action Team, where do you see some of the things we have planned for next month? Reproductive justice, racial justice, Black Lives Matter, Race Against Racism, our Share the Plate for the YWCA this month. Food justice, our Daily Bread, and the community garden, the pantry garden out front. And even those serious causes that I've just mentioned, serious issues that we put our back to, our wallets to, a lot of it is also the social contacts. There is joy in working with one another as we work for justice and give voice to things that need our voice. So I hope that you will support the pledge drive. It provides a foundation for those kinds of social justice outreach that we've just mentioned.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again.
So our closing words are from Andrea Harkins Camper. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? If not now, when? This is the answering cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do, and this is the call we answer now. To be the barrier and the bridge, to be the living embodiment of our principles, to be about the work of building the beloved community, to be a people of intention and a people of conscience, to be a people who sincerely welcome all to this neighborhood.
This song says, no matter who you are, no matter where you go in your life, at some point you're going to need somebody to stand by you. Oh yeah, oh my darling, stand by me. No matter who you are, no matter where you go in life, you gon' need somebody to stand by you. No matter how much money you got, all the friends you got, you gon' need somebody to stand by you. When the night has come and the land is dark and that moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed one tear. Just as long as your people come and stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Come on, stand by me. Yeah. Oh, when that sky that we look upon, when she tumble and fall on the mountain. Thank you. Thank you.